All of today's posts come from r/MenWritingWomen. If none of you have seen this subreddit, you absolutely should. It is gold. As she stood there, a narrow-hipped blonde woman with a pair of symmetrical breasts moistly heaving among the frills of her white silk blouse. I don't know if they're trying to imply that she's sweaty? I don't know how something moistly heaves. Sure, moistly heaving. Perfect description. 10 out of 10. She leafed through the book, ignoring Chad's unblinking stare at her breasts. Tammy was used to the stares, not just from her follower, but from all the boys, all 9 of them her age in Rockwood. She was far prettier than all the other girls, except for Denise Calhoun, that fat cow with her C-cup boobs. But Denise was white trash, whereas Tammy was adopted and the only Japanese girl in town, possessing an exotic edge over Denise, whose parents let her wear makeup even though it made her look like a big slut. Oh my god. What? That one managed to be weirdly sexist and racist and somehow fat-shaming? Like C-cup boobs. What? New guy's a weirdo, huh? Rachel said out loud, not holding back her rudeness, staring directly at me, saying it like one of those college girls. I'm hot and cool and don't give an F, but was probably molested at some point in my teenage years, so I'm always in defense mode and attack others before they can attack me first. That kind of chick. You know the type. Oh god. She looked oddly like Kat Dennings with her pale skin, big lips, bright red lipstick, bulging eyes, and dark brown hair that flowed over her shoulders onto her chest. She had a bit of a 1970s feel. Okay, let's just start with the fact that it is lazy writing to describe someone's appearance by saying that they look like a famous actress. And also, someone being molested is not a personality type. Oh my god. We must know him as we know ourselves, Lepikov said. Oh, better than that, I hope, Foss said. Her bosom quivered as she chuckled. Lepikov forgot himself and stared at her breasts, fascinated. A magnificent giantess. Quivered isn't really the right word to use there. That just makes it seem like you picked up a thesaurus and went a little crazy. But at least we know what this author does while women are speaking, I guess. Okay. This is from a motorcycle handbook, I'm pretty sure. It proceeds by feeling, intuition, and aesthetic conscience. In the Northern European cultures, the romantic mode is usually associated with femininity, but this is certainly not a necessary association. The classic mode, by contrast, proceeds by reason and by laws, which are themselves underlying forms of thought and behavior. In the European cultures, it is primarily a masculine mode, and the fields of science, law, and medicine are unattractive to women largely for this reason. Well, I mean, there you have it. This one seems to be someone making fun of how men tend to write women. What I saw instead was this young woman, hair the color of an early autumn, eyes like a raging sea, and when she spoke, a voice like a southbound breeze. Is she a person or a weather report? I asked. The voice belonged to a plump, round-faced woman, of the sort that develops a good personality, because the alternative is suicide. My god. Stop it. She was tall, even for a female of the first folk, who commonly outgrew their males, and so lean that the articulation of her hip joint could be seen through the swell of her ass as she stretched her endless legs behind her. The person posted this because they were confused about the endless legs comment, but I'm just really caught up on The articulation of her hip joint could be seen through the swell of her ass. What does that... What does that mean? Like, actually try to picture that. What weird, contorted humanoid is this describing? She had discarded her habitual air of disdainful self-confidence like an old cloak. All of a sudden, she seemed like a different person, frightened and vulnerable, and altogether more likable. Yeah. How dare women have self-confidence? It's such an unattractive trait. Oh, God. She was still quite slim. Wouldn't hurt to sweat off 3 or 4 pounds. Better yet, to transfer that weight into her breasts. Okay, that's not how that works. She was a small-breasted woman from a small-breasted family in a world that rewarded women for having udders to rival Elsie the Borden cow. What? Her usual joke that bust size was inversely proportional to brain size was a defense mechanism. She craved larger ones, as a man always wanted a larger penis. But God or the gene pool had not chosen to give her those, and she would not submit to the vain ignominy of surgery. Besides which, she didn't like the numbers on that kind of surgery. Too many silicone implant cases developed complications. Okay, quick pause here to say, whoever wrote this is convinced women think about their boob size as much as this guy obviously thinks about his penis size. Can confirm we don't. I mean, maybe some women do, but for the most part, I'd say no. I don't know many people who actually want breast enlargements, and most people I know with larger breasts actually want smaller ones. I am going to give this person props for knowing that, you know, silicone breast implants do cause complications. The rest of her hair, of course. So this woman is, she's nothing but boobs and hair. Cool. The rest of her hair, of course, was always a mess. But surgical discipline absolutely prevented her from paying great attention to that. Okay, she's a surgeon, that's why she knows about breast implants. It was still blonde and short and very fine, and when Jack took the time to notice, he liked her hair. Her face was still pretty, despite the squint lines and worry lines. Her legs had always been pretty nice, and with all the walking she did at Hopkins Wilmer, they had actually firmed up slightly. Kathy concluded that her looks were not the sort to make dogs bark when she passed. She was, in fact, still rather attractive. At least the other docs at the hospital thought so. Some of her senior medical students positively swooned over her, she liked to think. Certainly no one fought to escape her rounds. Whoever wrote this literally thinks that women are completely consumed with their appearance. Like, we would think, if we have rounds, that the only reason people would want to be in it are because of our looks, not because we're a good teacher. What? No, I can't with this. I can't. Strike. God, okay. This guy's name is Strike. Cool. Strike absorbed the impact, heard the high-pitched scream, and reacted instinctively, throwing out a long arm. He seized a fistful of cloth and flesh. A second shriek of pain echoed around the stone walls around them, and then, with a wrench and tussle, he had succeeded in dragging the girl back onto the firm ground. Her shrieks were still echoing off the walls, and then he realized that he himself had bellowed. The girl was doubled up in pain against the office door, whimpering, judging by the lopsided way she was hunched, with one hand buried deep under the lapel of her coat. Strike deduced that he had saved her by grabbing a substantial part of her left breast. All I'm picturing is that scene in Parks and Rec, where I think it's the mayor has like a heart attack and collapses. And grabs Leslie Knope's boob on the way down. Not actually a practical way to pull someone to safety. Physically wouldn't work. A woman who does not guard and treasure herself cannot be of very much value to anyone else. They become a pretty little convenience, like a guest towel. Ew, I hate that. No, keep your gross, gross purity culture to yourself. No. Okay. In this one, this guy is talking to someone whose husband died. Pitt sat in silence for a minute, staring at her sad face. How long ago? He asked simply. It's been 8.5 years now, she replied in a whisper. Pitt felt dazed. Then anger set in. What a waste, he thought. What a rotten waste for a beautiful woman like her to grieve over a dead man for nearly 9 years. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He could see tears welling in her eyes as she lost herself in the remembrance, and the sight sickened him. He reached over and gave her a hard backhand slap across the face. Her eyes jerked wide and her whole body tensed from the sharp blow. It was as if she was struck by a bullet. Why did you strike me? She gasped. Because you needed it. Needed it badly, he snapped. That torch you carry around is as worn out as an overcoat. I'm surprised someone hasn't taken you over a knee and spanked it off. So your husband was dashing. So what? He's dead and buried, and mourning over him for all these years won't resurrect him from the grave. Lock away his memory somewhere and forget him. You're a beautiful woman. You don't belong chained to a coffin full of bones. You belong to every man who turns and admires you as you pass by and who longs to possess you. There's more. I'm not going to keep reading it. It's gross. This time I could see her face more clearly. Long, delicate eyelashes encased her glimmering green eyes. Raven curls that fell just to her sculpted jaw framed her face. Even under the thick webbing of hair and grime, I could tell that she was absolutely, heart-stoppingly, smoking guns bangable. Okay, and at smoking guns bangable, that's where I gotta wrap it up for today. I actually had a few more, but this video is getting long. This subreddit, seriously, if you haven't gone there, go check it out. It is full of more gold than usual, I assume because people are in their houses reading and finding these gems if you need a good laugh. Also, if you want to be enraged, both things can be found there. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.